Café Anyway. Here we are, Café Anyway.
Mike's Daily Podcast.
Episode 2870, 2870. Mike Matthews here at Café Anyway in the land.
Mike's Daily Podcast
of Ameritopica. Lots of topicas, the last place on earth. Here we go, like the topica of people wondering how much they're worth. Hit the employment and wages in the San Francisco Bay Area, which also includes Oakland and Hayward and podCastro Valley. So that's what they have. The average mean
Mike's Daily Podcast
hourly wage is what? Oh, okay.
Mike's
back in May
Daily
of 2022,
Podcast.
the average hourly wage in the Bay Area was $45.37. You gotta be kidding me. So what is all this complaining about a $20 minimum wage for fast food workers? If that is the... Wow. In podCastro Valley, there's a little secret. I ain't making that. So 52%, this is 52% above the nationwide national average, according to the U.S. Bureau of Labor Statistics, because the national average is $29.76 an hour. Management occupations in the area were the highest paid. Hey, I'm a manager. Let's see if this is how much I make. Nope. $89.14 an hour. Followed by legal occupations. Oh, that was management occupations. I am a manager, as I said. Legal occupations are at $86.91 an hour in the Bay Area. Legal occupations. Dang. Local area wages were significantly higher than their respective national averages in 21 of the 22 major occupational groups. Ooh, and computer and mathematical occupations accounted for...
And here's today's podcast picture.
7% of local employment in the Bay Area. Go figure. Nationally, that's at about 3.4%. Oh, the podcast picture is of something not in Hayward, but San Leandro, the city right next door, the beautiful area there along the bay. I think they call it Heron Bay. You can see a picture of that. I took that recently, and it's an awesome picture, and all your friends will love it. Go to mikesdailypodcast.com to see that wonderful, beautiful picture of water hitting the shoreline, because that's just what we need to hear is the waves crashing. So nice. The late great Basil the Boxer, actually, he and I would go to this spot many times. So, what is the highest paid detailed occupation? That would be the job of psychiatrist. It comes out to about $170 an hour. Of course, they don't get paid 8 hours in a row unless they're going to have 8 patients, 8 different clients that they're going to see. And yeah, that's all that I got from the Bureau of Labor Statistics. Fascinating stuff. They also sent me something here about the higher paying major occupational groups included management and legal. And San Francisco had 181,740 jobs in computer and mathematical, accounting for almost 8% of local area employment compared to 3.4% locally. It said here in another email also sent to me. Thank you. So my lovely lady friend is a therapist.
Is that why you're bald, Mike?
Think about it.
Oh.
That question is an idiot question to asked by an idiot. Don't ask that question ever again. But I think he is going to ask that again because it's Café Anyway and people ask questions like that. There are no stupid questions, just stupid people. As Gallagher said. The late great Gallagher. Oh, and I can't believe Shannon Doherty passed away. You know, I met Shannon Doherty at the Borderline in Thousand Oaks, a country club that had a very, if you know the storied history of that place that there was a shooting that took place there about 7-8 years ago. I had long since left the Ventura County area, Thousand Oaks. I had left the area, long since left it at that point. But when I heard it happened, with all the stuff I did with K-Hay and in the country radio music world.
Danger, Will Robinson, danger.
Yeah, there was a lot of danger that happened that day. I don't want to go into detail, but it sounded frightening. I know the place well, let's just say. And people, if they jumped out of the windows, as I heard they did, it's on a hill, and they would have flown down the hill. So, horrible, treacherous, terrible, notorious story. This story a little bit more lighthearted in remembering the late Shannon Doherty, of course, of Beverly Hills 90210, but Charmed. She was playing pool with some friends, and I went over and said hi, and she said hi real quick. We didn't have just, hi. I said, oh, hey, I work for one of the local radio stations. And she said, oh, okay, thanks. I backed away as quickly as possible. And I remember she wasn't very tall from what I remember. But so she passed away at the age of 53. It was a battle with cancer, breast cancer. And her, Leslie Sloan, her publicist, said the devoted daughter, sister, aunt, friend was surrounded by her loved ones as well as her dog Bowie. The family asked for privacy so they can grieve in peace.
Hey, good looking. We'll be back to pick you up later.
Oh my gosh, Mr. Microphone. Mr. Microphone is trying to cheer us up a little bit after that sad story. But just a quick other remembrance of her in 2015, she spoke candidly to people this article came from People magazine, about her stage 4. She was first diagnosed in 2015 with breast cancer, and in 2023 she spoke with People magazine about her stage 4 breast cancer. And she said, I'm not done with living, I'm not done with loving, I'm not done with creating, I'm not done with hopefully changing things for the better. I'm not done. As we go outside of Café Anyway, where we bring you Mike's Daily Podcast somewhere in Podcastro Valley, the last place on earth in the land of Ameritopica with all our topicas. And one of the topicas that my lovely lady friend brought up to me as we were talking about jobs is losing jobs. Losing a job. And this person she knows, she is helping to get through the problems, the trauma, the grief of getting over losing a job by posting a blog. And these days when you say I'm writing a blog, since it's not 2004, it's 2024, and there's this thing called Substack, which I am not on yet. I really don't write that much, although I do have a blog on mikesdailypodcast.com, which you can check out the podcast picture there today and all the other past podcast pictures. It is an interesting place. A lot of people are writing on it, and it's helping her to write on there after she lost her job, to talk about the struggle and getting over it, because she's lost 2 jobs in a very short amount of time. I also was recently let go from a part-time job that I had. I had this part-time job for almost 11 and a half years, which leads me to think, why did I have a part-time job for 11 and a half years? Why didn't they ever promote me to full-time? That's one question that looms. What's that say about me? So see, all these questions that you question you become very insecure. You question your very everything, your existence sometimes when it comes to losing a job. But I had gotten a full-time job in the time that I was there, and that full-time job ended up promoting me, and so I was happy with that job. But this part-time job I kept just as okay, they're never going to promote me. I guess they're going to leave me alone for the most part. So I did work on my podcast at this part-time job. So you will no longer hear me say live from Podcastro Valley 10. That's done. And it's going to be a while before working it's a trap. It wasn't a trap, but working there, I guess it was a trap to some degree. But it did allow me to do things like the Let's Go Back with Matthews segment, and with the Mike Matthews New Tunes feud. Those two segments I really couldn't do. I mean, I can do there in my other location that I do the podcast, but doing it there was 20 times easier to do it there. So those segments are going to go away for a while. Not going to do those. If you miss it, you can call me at 224-4741, 228-4640. 510-228-4640 is the number to call if you'd like me. If you want to voice how much you miss Let's Go Back with Matthews. That was fun because you did get to hear the old K-Hay stuff that I did, and go back even further to the 90s and the late 80s when I was on the radio. But when you lose a job, and this is interesting because the Telegraph in England.
Awesome.
Thank you, Rob. So this is not from Rob. This particular, sometimes I get information from Rob. This is actually from the people at the Telegraph in England. And there were a lot of people that lost their job. Hundreds of Tory MPs lost their seats recently. It was the worst Tory defeat in modern history. In Downing Street. Some of you know British politics. I am not that well versed in it. I know there's something called the House of Commons, but apparently a bunch of people got voted out in the last election, where a more liberal candidate won, which is shocking because in other countries, conservative candidates are doing much better. But Simon Coombs, a therapist registered with the British Association for Counseling and Psychotherapy, he said in this article that looking back now, I would tell people not to panic. Take a deep breath when you lose a job. Clear your head and then get back to looking for a job. Reach out to friends and family and former colleagues who can help you through the process. One of the guys I worked with at this part-time job had been at that job full-time for over 40 years. So, wow. And he was a disc jockey, and he didn't get to say goodbye on the radio, which when you're a DJ, you hear about how when other DJs are let go, they have the...
Mike makes music.
Oh, I do? Okay. They get to say things like, closing time. Every new beginning comes from some other beginning's end. Yeah, I know who I want to take me home. They don't sing that on the air when they get their job taken away from them. And a big thank you to the great, is it Danny Wilson, who wrote that from Semisonic, who later wrote stuff with the Dixie Chicks. So, or just the Chicks now. The point is that he didn't get to say goodbye on the air. He said it goodbye on social media, which is actually more lasting. More people will see it, because when you say it out on the air, it goes out over the airwaves and then it's gone into the ether. He said it online, and now people will be able to read that for years to come. As you know, you leave an internet footprint when you post all your stupid things and do your stupid podcast like I do on the internet. Or if you're a TikToker, you do the why. I listen to this show that's got a couple of conspiracy theorists on it, and they're good for about the first 10 minutes. I can follow them and agree with most of the stuff they say, and then they go off the deep end. But they like to pull a lot of clips. I love their show because of all the clips, and they deconstruct media. Of course, they hate the quote unquote legacy media. They think it's completely warped and leaning, and you can't trust it. But then, of course, whenever something major happens, a major cataclysmic event, historical event, what's the first thing they tune to? Of course, they go to the legacy media, and the legacy media will have the facts in the beginning and then we can disagree or agree to disagree on what they do from there. But they are such conspiracy theorists, and they pull so much stuff from TikTok. And last I checked, Chewy is not on TikTok, but for the most part, TikTokers are terrible in the quality of the content. It's just technically, it's terrible. Like, they're super far away from the microphone like this, and it's all about how they look, right? So they don't care. They're all the way over here, and they got terrible equipment. I just hate TikTok. Anyway, Café Anyway. And I was on TikTok for a hot minute, and they pulled me off because I refused to download it to my phone. So if you are, but maybe that's if you get angry because you lost your job, perhaps. And I'm doing this live to Facebook Live, so whatever. I guess that's like TikTok, the way they and Facebook, they totally rip off other people like Snapchat, TikTok. They pull it into Instagram and Threads. Oh yeah, they copied X, made Threads. So I'm doing a little bit of that on my Facebook page right now, the live thing. But I'm not going to chop this up into little bitty TikTok segments, because aren't those? They're all short. I know. That's my old laugh about how much I hate TikTok, because it's just not my generation, I guess. But it's death by 1,000 cuts when you lose a job. When you know you're going to be out of work, a sudden unexpected job loss can hit us even harder. It can have a massive psychological impact and trigger trauma, which presents itself in different ways, says British Association for Counseling and Psychotherapy therapist Simon Coombs. He says, take time to process what happened. When we don't have a job, the first thing most people do is desperately look for another one. But if possible, people should have a short break from anything work-related, even if it's just to spend a couple of days doing practical jobs around the house or garden. This can help people process.
What was that all about?
And go, what was that all about? What they've been through, and reduce the risk of rushing into decisions they might regret later. Time is your friend, I once heard someone say, when it comes to big life-changing moments. Consider how you're going to replace your lost income, whether you want to remain in the same sector, work in another industry, try something new. Some people go back into education, some retrain, some upskill. There are genuinely a lot of opportunities regardless of age or the stage of your career. After reaching a decision, make a time-bound plan that sets goals. These could include making sure your resume is up to date and well presented, getting up to speed on how to search for jobs online, and signing up with recruitment companies. Recruitment companies, that's right. I didn't do that when I lost my job, my full-time job in Alabama.
Mike, how are you?
I didn't. I'm good now because I'm employed. But yeah. Oh, this is very helpful. Create a healthy daily routine, which includes exercise, eating healthily, drinking enough water, spending time with loved ones. This is key to recovery and claiming back a sense of control. Ensure you have daily focus and stick to it. What we mustn't do is shrink into an isolated kind of existence. And if you live alone, make sure that you're reaching out to friends and family. Fascinating. That's some good tips there. I don't know if I agree with everything there. I don't know about retraining. It's difficult to do when you're out of work, and all these colleges, online colleges, come out of the woodwork and try and get you to enroll at their school. And some of them are crazy expensive, and you don't get much in return. There's a lot of education you can get for free, but I definitely agree with the whole routine thing and making a plan. But for more info about him, I guess you could go to his website, which is, he doesn't give it. Okay, well, we can make one up, but Simon Coombs with 2 O's is who that is.
Right.
And he is over there at the British Association for Counseling and Psychotherapy, or the BACP. Look who's outside of Café Anyway, somewhere in Podcastro Valley, the last place on earth on MDP. That would be Mike's Daily Podcast. Hi, Mike. It's Benita the Rodeo Queen. How y'all doing? I ride my horse Dilly. It's a disgruntled fiddle player. Tell you what. What? I don't think you should be sad about losing your job because you know what? What? I think that you'd be good just doing what you're doing your podcast. Do you have any other interests, Mike? Well, let's see. I would like to learn at some point how to do video correctly.
What is the matter with you?
There's got to be, if I look for that and ask my young friends about that sort of thing, maybe I can find a less expensive way of learning that. It's when you don't know anything about a particular topic. Some of these schools, some of these educators will take advantage of you and will charge you a huge amount.
I'm sorry, Dave. I'm afraid I can't do that.
Because they know you have a goal you want to get to. I don't know if there are some places. When I was out of work, I actually went back to school to a community college here in the Bay Area, Chabot College. And I'm glad I did it because I found out later, hey, Tom Hanks went there. And it was helpful. I took a business class and a computer class and just to get an overall idea of both of those subjects. So I'm not an expert in this. I know at the moment I'm employed. I know at the moment I'm not making what it says in the beginning of this podcast from the Bureau of Labor Statistics. So we'll see. We'll see. What do you think? Help me out. Help me, Rhonda. Help me, Rhonda, yeah. Get a higher paying job. No. Help me. If you have a suggestion, here's the phone number.
Call Mike at the Café Anyway hotline. Area code 510-228-4640.
And with a mug of root beer, look who it is.
Hi, Mike. It's the Brewmaster. I make delicious root beer. Have some right now.
Oh, fantastic. Let me try.
Yeah, how's the mic, Mike?
What's in that?
I put some sun tea in the root beer. Oh, boy.
Those two really don't go together. But yeah, this time of year, I'm making sun tea all the time. That's great. Wonderful and slightly healthy. Hey, we're in a healthy routine, and that's important. Next show, it's going to be the wonderful Madame Rootabega. That's right. Madame Rootabega, Valentino, and Bison Bentley. And let's now go to the A-frame, mainframe, and find out all things about Mike's Daily Podcast and how to reach me, etc. Let's do that now, shall we? Let's do it. We shall.
Mike's Daily Podcast is written and produced and performed by Mike Matthews. His podcast is super easy to find. Download or listen to his show and read his blog at mikesdailypodcast.com.
Email Mike now at mikesdailypodcast@gmail.com.
See you tomorrow. Bye.